What is up, guys? Welcome to my trailer breakdown for Arrow Season 7, Episode 10, titled Shattered Lives. So I know this video is a little late. The trailer came out a couple days ago. The same thing for the Flash Season 5, Episode 10 trailer, but the reason this video came out this late compared to the trailer is because I tried to prioritize other videos, such as all the videos I made between Elseworlds and now, because this video, or this episode, isn't actually coming out for a long time, for over a month, and that's January 21st, so I thought, not really a big deal to make this trailer breakdown a little bit later than usual. So with that in mind, let's actually watch the trailer before breaking it down.
Game time, rookie. You ready? This is the best lead we've had on finding out who's under that hood.
Their mystery man is actually a woman.
Wow, really? If Oliver Queen knew anything, is that you can't save the city alone.
I'm not Oliver Queen.
Arrow. New episodes return Monday, January 21st on the CW.
So the trailer begins with Oliver on a crime scene with Dinah Drake, and I did like this status quo change originally where Oliver joins the SCPD because it was cool to see or to think about the fact that for the first 7 seasons of the show, minus basically everything between season 2 and whenever Quentin learned that Oliver is the Arrow in season 3, that was also, he was not against the police, but for the rest of the show, he was against the police and all the government organizations. I guess not Argus, but even that. But it was pretty cool to think that Oliver could now be an official member of the SCPD and not really be a vigilante. What I thought this would be, what the SCPD just calling the Green Arrow for help whenever they need it, or the Green Arrow just joining the SCPD on chases or actual crimes. Here, I didn't expect to see something like this where they have a crime scene that Oliver joins on, because it just feels like it would be a normal cop show, which is not something I would like to see on the show. This is something I would like to see on The Flash, because on The Flash, he's a CSI. He would go on crime scenes. They don't really do that very often, which I think they should do it like maybe every couple episodes. They don't really. But on Arrow, that's definitely not something I really want to see very often. If they're going to do it here in this episode, which they are, that's fine. But just Oliver joining on crime scenes, that sounds like it would make for such a boring show. I thought that they would just have the SCPD call the Green Arrow whenever they need his help, and I just thought that sounded pretty cool, and I like the fact that Oliver is no longer a vigilante, and he's finally a legitimate crime fighter who doesn't have to go outside of the law. Maybe he still will, but just him joining on crime scenes, that just sounds so boring for this particular show. So I really, really hope they do not continue doing things like this. Maybe this is a one-time thing connecting to the new Green Arrow's identity being revealed, which if it is, that's perfectly fine, but if it's more than that, then that's not very exciting for the second half of Season 7. But speaking of the new Green Arrow being connected to this crime scene, that is definitely the case, as Dinah finds this evidence, and she points out the fact that this is their best bet to finding out their identity, and I'm saying there because they don't know at this point that she is a she, but then Oliver takes this evidence to Felicity, who uses her magic hacking powers to find out that it is a woman, maybe even possibly find out what she looks like, although probably not her identity, as her identity is probably not public knowledge, and if it is, it's probably not the name that we are going to get to know her by, which is Emiko Queen. And the rest of the trailer is basically all about Emiko Queen. You see her in the costume, fighting some criminals, and as well as talking with Renee Ramirez. The fact that this episode is heavily focused around this character definitely makes sense, going off the leaked title from a couple months ago. So a couple months ago, this episode was actually revealed to be titled My Name is Emiko Queen. That's obviously a reference to the famous quote from this show. Every opening monologue has it. My name is Oliver Queen, and the season 3 finale was also titled My Name is Oliver Queen, and they used a play on that with My Name is Emiko Queen. So this title was leaked. Obviously, since then, they changed the title to Shattered Lives for some reason, but originally the episode title was leaked as My Name is Emiko Queen, which basically spoiled the fact that this character would be appearing in the season. In fact, it's not really basically, 100% did. What I meant was, it basically spoiled the fact that this new Green Arrow would be Emiko Queen. A lot of people thought that, including myself. I even made a video going over the 5 possible characters who could be this new Green Arrow. If you want to watch the video, take note that I did make it before the Elseworlds trailer was released, so I thought the new Green Arrow could actually be Barry Allen, because from the poster I thought it was an alternate reality Barry Allen or an alternate universe Barry Allen. But anyway, getting back to this video, I thought Emiko Queen was the most possible or most likely candidate for who could be this new Green Arrow, and I was right. If you don't know who Emiko Queen is in the comics, she is Oliver Queen's half-sister on her father's side, much like Thea is on her mother's side. Her father is Robert Queen. Her mother is actually Shadow, the same Shadow from Arrow in the Season 1 and 2 flashbacks, and she is Green Arrow's sidekick as well as the superhero Red Arrow. She obviously has a lot of similarities to Thea. She is the half-sister to Oliver Queen. She also takes up the superhero name of one of Roy Harper's previous names. For Thea, it's Speedy. For Emiko, it's Red Arrow. Just a lot of similarities, and up until this point, I always thought Emiko was basically the comic version of Thea Queen, just very, very different. It just turns out that no, Thea Queen doesn't actually have a comic book counterpart, unless if you want to count Mia Dearden, which is basically it's very similar, but Mia Dearden is a very, very different character to Thea. But Thea is definitely modeled mostly after Mia Dearden, but in the comics, Emiko Queen, completely different character, and now they're adding her to the show as the new Green Arrow. So you may have noticed that I mentioned that Shadow is actually Emiko Queen's mother in the comics, and if that sounds weird to you, it's because in the comics Shadow is a completely different character. She's a lot older than the show. She's not a love interest to Oliver. She was a love interest to Robert Queen, hence they have a daughter together. But on the show that would not work whatsoever, because Shadow is, one, way too young to be Emiko's mother, at least going by the actress's ages. Shadow is currently 33, and Emiko is 20 or 21 or around that age, so definitely Shadow is not old enough to be her mother. And also in this continuity, unless they make some huge retcon to the flashbacks, as well as everything that happened before the show started, Robert and Shadow have never met each other, which means that in this continuity, Emiko Queen's mother is somebody else. Which does raise the question, who is Emiko Queen's mother? Who did Robert have an affair with 20 years ago? And the answer, I have no idea. There have been a lot of people who are saying it could be Isabel Rochev, as we learn in Season 2 that Robert did have an affair with her way back when Thea was a little girl, which would fit this time, as Thea is a couple years older than Emiko, so this would work. The problem with this is Emiko's mother has to be Asian, and although Isabel Rochev is technically Asian because she's from Russia, or at least she's probably Asian because she's from Russia, that's not the same type of Asian. Emiko Queen's mother has to be an Asian woman, which definitely rules out Isabel Rochev. And honestly, my answer for who her mother is, I don't think it matters. I think they're going to do the same thing what they did with Rey in Star Wars The Last Jedi, which, spoiler alert, it turns out her parents didn't really mean anything. They were nobodies, which I didn't think worked for that movie because I had this whole setup for her. But for Emiko Queen, her parents, or her mother at least, it doesn't really matter who she is. I think it's going to turn out that her mother is some random Asian woman that Robert had an affair with some 20 years ago. But getting back to the trailer, we do see a scene of Renee talking to Emiko, which means that he knows who she is, maybe her name, but definitely the way she looks. And I think it's possible that he already knew this from previous episodes because he was already working with the new Green Arrow a couple episodes ago, like from episode 4 or 5, or maybe even earlier than that. I don't 100% remember which specific episode, but Renee wasn't very apprehensive to work with them, with the new Green Arrow, so it's possible that he already knows who she is. But anyway, we do get the scene of Renee talking to Emiko about whether or not she should join Team Arrow. He doesn't specifically say that, but it's very obvious that's what he's talking about. And going based off her reaction, just basically how the show works, considering there are 23 episodes for them to fill up, I'm guessing, or 22 this season actually, I'm guessing there will be some sort of conflict between Emiko and Team Arrow, specifically between Emiko and Oliver, which is also very hinted at in her response, saying, "I'm not Oliver Queen," in a pretty aggressive tone. I'm guessing there'll be some sort of conflict there, and in a couple episodes she will join Team Arrow, although if she does join Team Arrow, which she almost definitely will, that does mean that the team will have 2 Green Arrows, which definitely would not work unless Oliver quits being the new the Green Arrow, which please don't do that. And also if Oliver dies in Crisis on Infinite Earths, which also please don't do that, and I don't think they will. And a couple of people are saying, or really there are websites that are putting out articles about whether or not this new Green Arrow should replace Oliver and whether or not she could. And I don't think she could. I think Stephen Amell in particular carries the hell out of this show. This show would be nothing without the character of Oliver Queen, so if he dies, if he leaves, this show is 100% over. But Green Arrow, the new Green Arrow joining Team Arrow, means that there will be 2 Green Arrows, which means that I'm guessing Emiko Queen will take up a different superhero name, namely the Red Arrow, because that is her name in the comics, and on the show, nobody has used the moniker of the Red Arrow. Roy Harper's names have been used in Arsenal for Roy, Speedy for Thea, so Red Arrow for Emiko would be very fitting. But anyway, let me know all your thoughts about this trailer in the comments down below, and if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.